Hello, everybody. That was a double intro to make sure you know this channel is about math, money, and freedom. We're going to talk a lot about that today as well. And hang on a second. I hear an echo in the back, or yeah, there we go. Okay. And a shout out as well to Solar, Bitcoin, and Coffee, and Dr. Caroline, who's pregnant, and they're watching the show together. And remember as well, I always say, the family that invests together stays together. Okay, one team. Power. Anyway, today we'll talk about the secrets to building wealth, a little bit about core assets, Tesla, Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, a lot of MicroStrategy. I've never seen so many questions on one company in the history of doing this for nearly 4 years. My 4-year anniversary begins real soon. We'll look at the Bitcoin wealth pyramid as well, and the importance of having a plan. Step number 1 in investing, make a plan. Stick to it. And shout out to Max Grease as well for hitting your targets. Woohoo. We'll get into that and how things change so fast. Wholecoinership, next 20 years, Saylor versus Silver, interesting one, and so much more. Let's get into it. Oh, shout out as well to the mods in the chat. I don't know who's here. I haven't checked, but I'm sure everybody's here. TND Tesla, Sean Donnelly, K8, etc. for keeping us all safe from scammers. Remember, it takes a lifetime to make it and a second to lose it. Let's go. And yeah, disclaimer, I'm just a guy on the internet, not financial advice. And shout out to everybody on Patreon where all these questions come from. Thank you so much. First question in the box today is the following. I got to blow it up so I can see it. Hang on a second. This is from Belinda1. Putting some profits into a tax-free stocks-only account for my 5-year-old. Thank you, James. Best long-term allocation, 20-year time frame. Thinking 40% Tesla, 30% IBIT, which is the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, 30% MicroStrategy. What would you do? So, first of all, I don't give financial advice, but I do share what I would do. First of all, the rules. And I had to doctor this image a little bit, but there's no such thing as 20 years. So don't even think for a second you're going to invest in one stock and hold it for 20 years. Remember, the world is going to change radically over the next 2 years. This is Kim Kardashian. I gave her some pants and a robot and a cybercab. These two things that you see here in this image is going to change the world radically. Radically. We had 2 years to stack Tesla in the low 100s. It was a magnificent time. People was like crying. They're going to see what happens over the next 2 years. Anyway, let's talk about the next 5 years. I do believe there is a couple of things that could be very interesting. 1, Tesla. 2, Bitcoin. 3, the new term, radioactive Bitcoin, aka MicroStrategy. And Sol if it keeps it up. But remember, be prepared to switch it up if any theses change at any time. Or as I say, tap dancing shoes. Now, this is a more balanced, non-financial advice approach. I think you need to be heavier Tesla, 30%, maybe 20% IBIT, 20% MicroStrategy, so paring that back a bit. But remember, MicroStrategy is a lot more risky than IBIT, and we are a large way through the bull market. So keep some cash, and maybe 30%. Also for pair trading, because you can do it tax-free between these assets and other proxies. The money you can make from pair trading is absolutely, completely bonkers. And we'll talk about that in another subsequent question as well that comes up later. Now, next, we'll go fast because we have a lot of questions to get through. This is from Shanzi. Hi, James. Wondering if you're looking at doing an update on your Retire with MicroStrategy video soon. Well, you read my mind. I did that this week. I did a Retire on Cocktail update. These are the 4 core assets that I am invested in. I share everything openly and transparently, including weekly or sometimes twice a week updates on my portfolio holdings. And that's how I play it. And in there, everything is changing actually with MicroStrategy. We'll talk about that in a minute as well, because it is, it's going a bit bonkers. So anyway, let's move on from that. So check out that video. I will do more of those. The demand for these things is off the hook. Next question is from MK. James, your work and guidance have been life-changing for my family and me. Good. I'm glad your family is investing together. I will never be able to thank you if you don't thank me. This is just my purpose. But thank you for being part of it. Can you do an updated video on Wholecoiners? In June 2023, it was no more than 416,000 total Wholecoiners on the planet. I can't help but feel that this number has diminished with the supply being accumulated at the recent rate. You are dead right. So these types of projects are a very heavy lift. And I will do an update. I'm going to do a wallet change update as well on how the cohorts have changed since 2020, because I have all the data. I just need to update it, which means I need to go and look at a whole bunch of on-chain data. But you're right. Things have changed radically. Let's have a brief look. And again, I promise, by the way, I have so many categories of videos and there's so much stuff to update. And I'm working literally 12 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week for years and years now. And I try get to all that I can. But the catalog is so vast and so broad. It takes so many hours to do these things that I just try get to them as I can. So be patient, please. First of all, this is a big change. And I can tell you right now, just from first blush at some of the data, the number of true pure form Wholecoiners is down now below $350,000 in pure form. And the increase in the number of Bitcoins held in wallets with more than one Bitcoin has gone from 17.83 million to 18.39 million since January 2023. That's less than 2 years. And this shows you there is an extreme concentration now in large holders, whales, MicroStrategy, Marathon Mining, the Teslas of the world, all the treasuries coming, the ETFs, and this relates to this decrease in the number of Bitcoin Wholecoiners. So these puppies alone, by the way, just these 9 ETFs have bought 855,000 Bitcoin since January 11th. Now remember as well, you can be a Wholecoiner by owning a bunch of ETFs or a proxy like MicroStrategy. And that's another way around it. But again, I always say, if you can, pure form is good. But I break that rule myself because I found proxies being a much better way to play. But let's look at another very interesting thing. And this goes back to Max Grease, watching in the community there, of how having a plan and sticking to it is so important. This is why I do these things. So this is the Bitcoin wealth pyramid. So my first videos were about the amount of lost Bitcoin, the path to Wholecoinership, the importance of that, and then I created the wealth pyramid. And I've been creating these for years. This was November 2022. To be in this top 0.1% of Bitcoin holders, you need greater than 21 Bitcoin. You could have bought that for $344,000 2 years ago. Okay, top 1%. You need more than 3.5 Bitcoin. 56 grand would have gotten you there. $56,000 to be in the top 1% of Bitcoin bag holders. And to be in the top 5%, 2 grand. Not bad. But boy, has this changed. This is August 2024, my most recent wealth pyramid Wholecoinership video. Bonkers. That went now to be in the top 0.1%, 1.3 million. To be in the top 1%, now it's greater than 3.5 Bitcoin, 213,000. And to be in the top 5%, 8,000. Remember, a few months earlier, it was a lot less. But it gets more egregious than that. Let's look at what it costs today. Because I did the numbers for you. December 1st, 2024. The amount of money you need to be in the top 0.1% is $2.1 million. Or the top 0.1, $2.1 million. Top 1%, $341,000. A third of $1,000,000. And to be in the top 5%, you just need about $13,000 worth of Bitcoin. And that is where we are. But the stunning difference between December 1st, 2024 and 2 years ago, mad. Just the top 0.1% you could have got for a third of $1,000,000. Now it's 2.1 million. Okay? Crazy. That's over 6x in a very short window of time. That's why when I do these exercises is you can set your goal. Like, I want to be in the top 1% or I want to be in the top 5%. Use these numbers and plan accordingly. And just stick to that plan religiously. I can't stress that enough. That's why I do so many retire on series across many different assets. So you can build a multi-legged stool of all these assets And then even if one blows up, you'll have the rest. You'll be set. Next question is from, let me see, Reaper of Doom. Welcome to the family. Hey, James, let's pretend you have just come across crypto for the first time in your life and all you had was a Tesla bag. Is it too late to join the Sol and MicroStrategy train? Is Tesla and MicroStrategy still a good pair, as both seem to have a good chance of continuing to break out? P.S. Love the content. Thank you for being part of the team. So this is an interesting question that covers many different aspects, and it also dovetails into another question that comes later. So let's jump into this. First of all, two options. Now, if I was, because I only speak about me, if I was super conservative and new to crypto, I would still just buy some Bitcoin even at nearly 100,000. If I was a tad more open to risk, I would buy Solana because it's by far the most dominant chain on the planet and by far the most undervalued. I'm going to show you some statistics that I use to find winners early. And that's all I do. I just look at data. And data tells me what's going to happen next. You play where the puck is going to be. Let's look at the first set of data. And I'm just looking at Sol versus Bitcoin. Now, I realize Bitcoin's a store of value, but Sol is the blockchain that does it all. If you look at just some of these numbers here, which are kind of mind-blowing, you look at speed, we got 150,000% faster. Finality, 153,000% faster. TPS, 10 million% faster. Daily transactions, 15,000% more. Daily active users, 1,223% more. Daily transactions over daily active users, 1,034% more. Average fees, 3.7 million% more. Daily fees, 341% more. Weekly developers, 65% more. And weekly commits, 41% more. Just think about that for a second. As I always say, I always try and bring my TradFi experience to crypto. If these were two stocks, think about this. Strong words. If these were two stocks measured the same way, Solana would be valued far higher, much higher market cap than Bitcoin. But nobody does that work. Nobody does. I do know in time, things shake out. We'll talk more about time as well in a minute. But just as an example, there's over 30,000 blockchains up and running. This is DEX, the top use case for crypto. Solana now does 45.34% of all the action on one freaking chain, and that chain is only 3% of the total crypto market cap. Okay? That's broken. For the kids at home, divide 45.34 divided by 3. 3% for the crypto market cap. That is the upside. If crypto was logical, if the crypto space analyzed things properly and appraised values based on fundamentals, that's where we go. The question is, what's happening now? I don't know. But it's very clear ETH has died, as we forecast as well. The only place I'm wrong is it died a little bit faster than I expected. It's not completely dead, of course, but everything is going into the black hole Sol, as I also said. Now, Sol with a market cap of Bitcoin, if it was appraised correctly and just matched Bitcoin, the Sol price would be $4,119 or 17.3x from here. I think I just maybe gave away part of the answer to the previous question. But again, it is completely bonkers. So yes, is it too late to invest in Sol? I would say nope. The price has been very weak because all the poop coins are pumping, but that's how it is. Now back to MicroStrategy as well. This is your other question. Is it too late to play that train? Just a little bit of an embarrassing forecast that I made in 2020. I did 3 big MicroStrategy videos in 2020, and they were my earliest videos ever, by the way. But I made an embarrassing call. I said MicroStrategy could hit $8 billion market cap by 2025. Okay? I forecasted that in the year 2020. And I was embarrassingly off. MicroStrategy already hit $100 billion market cap. So again, I said 8 billion next year. It's already at 100 billion. That's how much I sandbag and how I do it 4 years ahead of time. Anyway, there's more. This is kind of interesting because I was the only guy ever to talk about MicroStrategy in the early days. Those in Patreon know it. They have it, they became millionaires, etc. But MicroStrategy is now so special. It has completely broken the mold of what capital markets are and how they operate. Completely broken the mold. And now, this is a fantastic thing. You know, success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan. Yeah, I was an orphan for years. Now MicroStrategy has 20 dedicated, pure form MicroStrategy channels alone that have all blossomed over the past 3 or 4 months. So it's great. This thing is special and the world is waking up to it, which is great for us because we've been playing it since 2020. Now, related to MicroStrategy, he always does this and he's doing it at a much faster pace right now. And last week he was on CNBC and their heads were exploding with the type of stuff he had to say because they can't think exponentially. But this is Michael Saylor, a possible blue-green imbalance on the Saylor tracker, which means there's too much blue and he needs more green, which means he's already bought. He bought over Thanksgiving because he gave a giveaway tweet. He said something like, you work every day, even on holidays. And he posted that, I think, on Thanksgiving, or you don't take a day off or something like that. He was buying Bitcoin. And he was buying probably on Friday too, maybe Saturday. They filled their boots. And I reckon they just bought another at least 20,000 Bitcoin. Their bag will now be north of 400,000, which I said was a lock for 2024 as well. Now, just perspective on what he is doing, because I try tell the tale a million different ways, and it's special. It's special. But this is from HODL 15 Capital. Beautiful graphic. Sanjay shared it to me like literally 20 minutes before I went live. I had to include it. I do believe, as I said, Saylor will buy another 20,000 this week. That means in the month of November, he'll have bought 154,480 Bitcoin, which would be like 10 or 15x the mine supply. That is crazy. There is an absolute mismatch of supply and demand like nothing I've ever seen in my lifetime. Okay, I'll repeat that. Bitcoin supply and demand, absolute mismatch. Okay, you look at MicroStrategy, you look at Marathon, you look at the ETFs. Just those 3 players, and you look at how much is being mined. It's bonkers. Supply crunch is coming. And remember, there's only 60 treasury companies out of 3.3 million companies on the planet. They're all doing it. And then nation states are going to do it too. And then pensions are going to do it. It's brilliant. And we're sitting here and we just have to wait. Although, anyway, thank you for the question. It was brilliant. Next question is from João in Portugal. Say hi to Mando when you're there. Hope you're doing well. I'm a big fan of your Q&A show. Well, you're here and I'm answering your question. I invested 50% IBIT ETF and 50% in MicroStrategy on February, not planning to sell until June 2025. Recently, I withdrew 10% to invest in MSTU. If the market stays bullish, what are the risks of keeping MSTU for 6 to 8 months? Thanks for your help and keep up the great work. Best João from Portugal. Obrigado, amigo. Let's go. Let's talk about where we are. And this is the MSTU chart matched against MSTR. Now, it's a brand new product. It just came out late September. What's interesting about this, MSTU is supposed to get double the return. However, it's only yielding 93% more than MicroStrategy. So it's not getting the 100% extra kick. Some days it does, some days it doesn't. But it doesn't do that for this reason. And that's why I talk about these amplified ETFs. There is risk involved, a lot of risk. Let's break this down. Here you can see MSTU aims to deliver 200% of MicroStrategy, which can lead to amplified gains. But there is a dark side, and that is what they call compounding effects. Over long periods, MSTU performance will significantly deviate from 2x MSTR's returns due to the daily rebalancing and compounding effect. Okay, that's the first part. And you can see that very clearly here in this chart. It's only getting 93%. It's not getting 100% extra. Now, the most important thing I will stress here is total loss potential. This is very important. If MicroStrategy drops 50% in a single day, you could lose your entire investment in MSTU. All right? I'll repeat that again. If MicroStrategy tanks 50% in a single day, you could lose your entire MSTU position. A little over a week ago, we saw MicroStrategy go from $550 down to $390 in one trading day. All right? I should have analyzed the chart during that time frame because that was probably a mega candle dip. So be careful. There's also leverage risk. That is the fund's use of leverage, increase the impact of market fluctuations up and down, potentially leading to substantial losses. And then you have some liquidity risk too. So sometimes during market turmoil, it may be difficult to buy or sell shares at the desired price. So just be careful out there with that. And as I always say as well, a quick reminder, we're making enough money on MicroStrategy. All right, there's no need to amplify the gains. The risk is enough already. The returns are enough already. But don't pick up pennies in front of a steamroller, ladies and gentlemen. It's not worth it. Don't get greedy. Don't put more than 1% of your bag into a perp. There was another question. Somebody put their entire savings onto a perpetual contract. Lost 70% in over a week. 1% of your sol bag only. I've said this 1,000 times. Now it's 1,001. Don't play with fire. It will wreck you. Or in this case, you get squished. Next question. Sorry. Good caffeine levels today. Grüezi, James Grüezi. This is Can in the Schweiz. Thinking of the normies slide you posted, how is Saylor's infinite money glitch any different from the Hunt brothers trying to corner the market on silver, allowing them to drive prices higher and control the market to a degree? They ultimately failed. Silver Thursday happened. What risk does Saylor have of being accused of this by the FTC? At what level price would Saylor be upside down in lending MicroStrategy treasury notes to investors as he finances more Bitcoin accumulation? Could that collapse the market? Dank vielmal. So, this is such a good question because it's so important to study history. There's so much knowledge there. Like literally, a great example is Amazon. And looking at what it did, all the fundamentals were very, very strong. Because I'd studied Amazon like 25 years ago, I could tell Solana was safe because the fundamentals kept on getting stronger and stronger. If I didn't have that Amazon experience, I may have lost confidence in Solana when it fell to $8 instead of doubling down. But that's why history is very important. And I love that you brought up this case because it shows that you understand this history. For those who don't know the Hunt history, I'll break it down in 3 simple little lines. Nelson Bunker Hunt and William Herbert Hunt inherited a fortune from their oil tycoon father in 1974, and they sought to protect it from inflation by investing in silver. So there's so many lessons in that one sentence. First of all, they made a ton of money from their daddy, and they wanted to protect against inflation. Smart move. But they had too much portfolio concentration. So you don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's the first series of learnings. And, if you do get handed a fortune, play it easy. If you're new to markets, learn them first before putting everything on black 36 or whatever it is in that gambling game. And their aggressive silver buying strategy led to a dramatic spike in silver prices from $20 to $140 an ounce between 1977 and 1980, causing a bubble in the silver market. And the brothers failed. They wanted to corner the silver market ultimately, and it failed due to regulatory intervention and market forces, resulting in the price crash and complete devastation of the Hunt family and their entire wealth. More lessons. They lost everything. They were given billions and they lost it all. Okay? Please remember this history. Very important. Great question. Let's look at the Hunt brothers pump, as I call it. That's that big spike that happened late 70s to early 80. And for those of you who are as old as me, you remember the late 70s. Okay, you remember things like queuing up at gas stations for petrol, gasoline, for cars, and all sorts of inflation. A very, very scary time. And everybody's looking to hedge against inflation. There are so many parallels between this story and what's happened over the past couple of years. It's uncanny. So I decided to break down in a table the difference between what Saylor is doing and what the Hunt brothers did, and how they lost everything and how this time is different. So here you can see a couple of things. Hunt brothers is the middle column and Saylor is on the right. First, I talk about transparency versus secrecy. The Hunt brothers operated with secrecy. Okay, they leverage futures markets to control the silver prices. This is the exact same thing that's happening, actually, the futures market, the perpetual market on XRP to control prices. Okay, I covered that yesterday. It's super interesting. What's the difference between these guys and this guy? Saylor is very transparent. He lays his cards on the table. There's no secrecy. There's no options. He issues shares to buy Bitcoin. He issues bonds to buy Bitcoin. It's that simple. So they're very different in that respect. Second, the asset nature. Silver is a physical commodity with supply constraints, but no fixed supply. It's like gold. If you want more of it, you dig a little bit deeper, not hard. Bitcoin is a digital asset with a capped supply of 21 million. So that's the nature is very different. Market control. The guys, Hunt brothers, want to control the market. They wanted to corner it. And Microstrategy holds, 2% of Bitcoin? I don't see them ever getting above 4%. And his bet is on scarcity and adoption, not cornering markets. He's too small. He'll never be big enough to corner the market. Even at 4%, it's not big enough. Market manipulation. They used manipulative strategies to influence price, like you see in crypto. And all he does, Saylor, is buy Bitcoin indirectly through large-scale OTC purchases. And that does drive up the price because it's taking supply away from the market, but there's no market manipulation. Leverage and debt. These Hunt brothers used significant leverage, and that's how they went bankrupt. And they lost their entire family fortune because they didn't know how to manage risk. And Michael Saylor, I believe their strategy of servicing debt, they can do it because they issue money at 0%. For the most part, and for a market collapse to happen, for him to start getting into trouble, Bitcoin price would have to fall 90%. It's not going to do that anymore. The perpetual bids are there from the ETFs, etc. It's now a global asset. Sovereigns are stacking. That's not going to happen. So there's no risk there of market collapse. And narrative and adoption, no broader adoption narrative for silver, just market control. But for Saylor, he promotes it as a store of value. And as Larry Fink would say, it's protection against fiat debasement. That's it. And of course, global unrest too. So the hope, dank vielmals for the question, brilliant question. And let's move on to the next one. This is from Zipper Sniper. First, thank you and your team for everything you do. I did warn you, by the way, lots of MicroStrategy questions. I'd like to know if there are any concerns with Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy and the huge amount of Bitcoin holdings they have. I'm getting asked questions about their security when I try and Saylor pill them. Ooh, red pill. Specifically, is it just him that holds the keys? And what if something awful happens to him? Is it all spread out amongst many wallets or just one? And does anyone have any access to his keys? These are all important questions for potential investors, current investors too. Cheers from the high HHDI land up north. I need to Google HHDI. First of all, Saylor is no fool. He understands markets. He understands risk. And I do believe they have a very powerful, strong succession and governance plan in place. They are a publicly traded company. They have a board of directors and a very rigid governance structure. And that would ensure continuity in the event or anything happens to Michael Saylor. Also, they have very in-depth operational procedures. The company has these things in place, which make sure nothing is dependent on one single person. It's basics. And they've been doing this kind of treasury roadshow for corporations, Bitcoin for corporations. And I'm sure, I haven't been in one of those sessions, but I'm sure they cover a lot of this too. Now, their security strategy, I'm not sure of this, but if I was in their shoes, I would definitely have the following in place. Multi-sig wallets with distributed key management. We're talking more than 5, maybe even more than that. Lots of cold storage, and they have custodians. We don't know who the custodians are, but I'm pretty sure there's a Coinbase in there somewhere for part of the bag and a couple of other players. There will be multiple authorization levels for transactions. There will be extremely secure physical storage of private key components. And they also have regular security audits and risk assessments and very strict access controls and separation of duties. No doubt in my mind, these guys have it buttoned up, just like BlackRock would do, Grayscale, all the other big bag holders. That's table stakes. So if that's people's concern, then hold your own Bitcoin. But again, scared money don't make money, as they say. Crazy Cat, next question. Hi, James. Could you explain in detail how you did the MicroStrategy Tesla trading in your retirement account? Which indicators did you use? Which settings? Which time frame? How often did you trade, etc.? Thank you so much, Crazy Cat. Well, let's break this down. So for those who don't know, and it always upsets people when I say this, but hey, I don't care. Here we go. The goal was to just do an experiment. I had 200K. The challenge for me was to turn into $1 million in a year, swapping only between two assets. That's not even moving to cash, just pair trading. And I did it as a project, as an experiment to build a product. It's very high risk. And if I shared the settings, people would try it. And it was very stressful for me over 150 days because I didn't want to screw up. And I watch this every day like a hawk. I have a dedicated monitor that does nothing but look at that pair with IIDSS. That's it. That's all I did. Okay. The other thing is the reason for it was to analyze the data, to build a model, to test the thesis for non-options traders, and to showcase how pair trading works so we could help a lot of people. Now, if I did share exactly how I would do it, then the community would not be able to do it because everybody else in the world would be doing it. So the plan, though, is to build a model for this. Hopefully we can crack the code. We've been working on it for a long time, nearly a year now. We're getting closer, and that'll come out hopefully in Q1 of next year. And that'll be so important, especially for people with retirement accounts in the UK or Australia or the US or Canada, where you can swap tax-free. Because I never believed in tax-free accounts because I never thought I'd make it to retirement. And then I found an old 401k with 200 grand in it. So that's the history of this thing. I moved it to a Robinhood IRA and play with it there for fun. But it was a very stressful 150 days. It takes a huge amount of time, and I'm trying to automate that process and analysis into a product. So stay tuned for that. Next question. And I hate giving non-answer answers, but it's not fully baked yet. I did it manually, and I burnt a lot of brain cells. Next question is, I forgot to mention as well. Every single step of the way, I shared every single trade. There were 9 in total. 9 trades in 150 days. Next question is from Danny Boy. What is the best proxy for Solana and why? Again, risk management here, pure form always. These things are for speculation. But there is a new company. We spent a lot of time talking about MicroStrategy, and everybody's looking for the next MicroStrategy. And this is the one they call CYFRF, which is a pink slip OTC desk. People always ask, I can't buy it. I'm not in Canada. You need a brokerage firm that has OTC, not OTC, the pink slip access. Yeah, they're OTC stocks, as we call them. But the ticker is for Sol Strategies is CYFRF outside Canada, HODL in Canada. And it has done very, very well. The stock is up 1,000% already since they went down this strategy, and that's significant. By the way, MicroStrategy is up 1,800%, but don't let that story ruin these facts. A lot of people think, anyway, well, we won't go down that path. We've spoken enough about MicroStrategy. Anyhow, people do believe it is the MicroStrategy of Solana, and there's a lot of consensus that Solana is the crypto trade of this bull run, which has also been correct. Yes, other coins will pump on any given day. Every dog has its day, as they say. But if Solana continues its bullish trend, and this market cap is about 250 million Canadian, I think, it could easily hit $1 billion, I believe. But we shall see. They also operate validators, which makes them more money. And the regulatory change is also important in this one because ever since Gary Gensler went bye-bye, he's leaving office 20th of January. Nobody cares anymore. Solana will not be silenced anymore. Robinhood listed it again too, so all goodness. Let's look at the chart for Sol Strategies. Again, this is since September 12th. It's up 1,000%. Not bad. Not bad at all. It is volatile, though. It did spike up to nearly 1,300%, fell back down to about 600%. Now it's back up at nearly 1,000% returns. So that's, again, it's volatile. But remember, volatility is vitality, and we like that on this channel. But you can also get burned. So be be careful. There is another ace in the hole regarding Sol strategies, though, as well, real briefly. Is this a perfect storm? Not sure, but Sol strategies, somebody shared this on Twitter, but they have 2.25 billion shares that are short, but there's only 146 million issued. So this could be set up for a massive short squeeze. Short squeeze is not guaranteed, but the setup is completely wild. This is almost like a mini GameStop thing happening too. So I'll open up to some questions in a second, but two little items first. This is Jessie. Jessie loves movies, and she could barely contain her delight when she was shown a National Geographic documentary about chimpanzees. It's so funny because you can see cats watching iPads and iPhones, and now chimpanzees too. She stood up and swayed with the excitement. Thank you as well for helping support these beautiful animals. And tomorrow, DCA Live, 7:30, 7:40 a.m. Pacific. That's 4:30 Central European time. I think, I don't know what the time zones are there now, but this will be a fun show tomorrow because there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. And where we go in the month of December. Historically, December is pretty good, but nothing is guaranteed. November is always good, and boy, was it an incredible November. Bitcoin's above 97 grand, and that's where we are. So let's do some questions right now. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And congratulations to all the people, by the way, that were watching me when I was just a retired guy making videos for fun. Anyway, let's get into the questions. And thank you as well to the mods in the chat. Hey, Sean Donnelly and everybody else. Let me see. First one. This is Ron B. My bags are packed with Tesla, Bitcoin, Sol, Microstrategy. I plan on holding Tesla and Bitcoin long term. I know you're going to let us know when it hits the top. What do you think I should do with Sol and Microstrategy? Sell them, or are they a long-term hold? So this is a question that I think about all the time. As you know, my MicroStrategy position is very outsized. And my plan in 2022 was to get into leverage positions on MicroStrategy because I saw it outperforming Bitcoin. And boy, did it do that. So, but then I thought the good thing about that was it would force me to sell because it's very hard to sell Bitcoin. But now with the infinite money glitch and the MicroStrategy bond and the fact that it's infinitely scalable, that thesis could change because I'm not saying it could happen, but literally if you look at some of the price targets being made by some people out there, just scroll through Twitter and stuff, it's insane. So I was planning to sell it all. That's not the plan anymore. I will hold and probably hedge. Because also my cost basis is so low at like 90 cents that I would incur massive tax liability by selling. Therefore, I might just hedge it hard. How I do that, you'll see on Patreon as well when the time comes. Box Fed, love you, man. When it comes to margin, what equity percentage is safe? Couldn't you keep buying the dips as long as the percentage is safe and just ride that out no matter what the margin amount? Yeah, in fact, that's a big part of my money glitch. I have a lot of margin against a lot of long-standing positions, and that's why I can use that to sell a lot of puts. So, but I like to keep a lot of margin as what I call a mattress cushion. So in the event that things fall out of the sky, the mattress will be there to catch it. So I can still play leverage, but when it comes to at least the options I play, I don't like to be more than half options, and I like to have a lot of margin available in case things go really bad sideways, and also have some cash in case I need to capitalize on an opportunity that presents itself. So just be careful playing with margin. Make sure you are far, far away from any liquidation event. So for example, like with Tesla, for me to be liquidated, it would have to fall to, I don't know, $20, $30 or something from 350 where it is now. That's how safe I play it. So I do use margin. I use a lot of leverage, but I'm very cautious with it too. Let me see. Box Fed again. I want Tesla at 310. Instead of a limit order, should I just sell a put? Or is the small payouts not worth a black swan event? So sell puts is kind of what I do. That's how I fund my positions. Yeah, you can do that. Will we hit 310? A lot of people calling for 300. I don't think so. FSD 13 just released. We saw the Kim Kardashian moment. There The future is here. It's not that it's coming anymore. It's actually here. The energy storage business, the mega factory in Shanghai, is going to be 3 times the size of the one in Lathrop, California. And I always pronounce that word wrong. I don't know how to say it. Lathrope. Anyhow, the future is going to be wild. Wild. This robotaxi with people's vehicles is going to come. Brad Gerstner thinks it'll come in Q2 2023. When that happens, Q3, Q4 will be bonkers. 2025, I said 2023. So it's going to be crazy. So, will we hit 310? I doubt it. There's too much buying pressure. There's also going to be too much window dressing coming into the year end as well. Max Grease, I hit my Bitcoin target following you. Thank you so much. Great man. You had a plan and you stuck to it. Good work. Hodl Barbarian, can you expand a bit on why you often use synthetic long, sell put, and buy call versus spot equity? Because I have infinite margin. That's why. And you get infinite returns as a result. So that's why I have a massive bag of Microstrategy that cost me 90 cents. 9 cents. No, 90 cents. Yeah. Getting my decimals mixed up. So that's why. Again, it's very dangerous. But if you have a lot of, you remember a couple of weeks ago, I spoke about how, it takes money to make money, and then you can make more and more money with the more money you have. That's my little infinite money glitch right there. Hope that helps. Soul Strider, I took profit early to change my life. Thank you for teaching me to overcome FOMO. Is the biggest challenge. Never leave freedom on the table. Excellent work, Soul Strider. A lot of people who can now retire, but again, have that mattress, have that extra cushion. Like if I say, you can retire on, say, 100 of something or 10 of something or 300 of something, then your next goal, if you achieve that, is go to 500 and then go to 1,000 and keep upping your goals and making sure you have that mattress. And also watch your assets. We're in very risky stuff. Remember to rotate out when they get frothy or they run out of steam, like NVIDIA, maybe, etc. So just be careful there. JKS, can you share your plan on the Sol Perp you still have open? I'm just waiting. So right now all the crap coins are pumping and they're taking the oxygen from the room. So I have a couple of little strategies I'm working on to get out of that hole. I'm down about 20%. And I was 15 for 15 wins. And I knew I think I may have cursed myself. So I said, this is number 16. There's no way I can win 16 in a row. So here we are. We'll see. I think what we might need is for Bitcoin to blow through 100K. And then Solana will rip. We shall see. But in the meantime, you've got absolute nonsensical stuff happening in the cryptoverse, and that's just the nature of the beast. But remember as well, I'll say this one more time, when you only have 1% of your Sol invested in a perp, nothing could go wrong. If it blows up, you lose 1%. That's nothing. I only do it for sport. Do not invest more than 1% of your Sol bag in a perp. I've said that 1,000 times, 1,002 times already today. There you go. So remember that too. And thank you for your super sticker. Hudson the Dog, Martello 45, Nick M, Viciously, Forrest M, Red or Black, Vagabond, Dog1, and Trix01. Remember, get rich slowly. Don't get rich driving at 200 miles an hour into a brick wall. That will destroy you, okay? Leverage kills. Manage the risk management rules that I lay out. And I lay them out for years. Years and years and years and years and years. Rules like, don't pick up pennies in front of a steamroller. And people don't listen. They still go all in on stuff and they lose. These rules are here for a reason. Write them all down, everybody. They're so important. Sorry for stressing that because I hate when people lose money or are down. When you stick to the rules, you don't lose money. So with that, on that happy note, don't pick up pennies in front of a steamroller. It's not worth it. Thank you all for coming, everybody. Thank you to mods in the chat, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.